Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for today's webinar. For those of you on the line right now, we're going to be getting started here in just a few moments, so please hang on tight, and we'll probably start things up about a minute after the hour. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for today's webinar. As I mentioned just a minute ago, we're going to be getting started about a minute after the hour. So hang tight for us, and we'll be starting shortly. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Just to introduce myself real quick, my name is Dan Hawkins, and I'm Director of Sales and Marketing here at ThingTech. We want to thank all of y'all for taking the time out of your day to join us for today's webinar. Just a quick bit of housekeeping before we do get started. If you do have questions, feel free to type those in the chat. We're going to be monitoring throughout, so we will be more than happy to address those as we come to the conclusion of our meeting today. Our call today is scheduled for an hour. We're probably going to use about 45 minutes of that, so hopefully we'll give you a few minutes back to your day. The topic of today's webinar is how to choose a fleet and asset tracking solution that delivers results. Our panelist today and our presenter is ThingTech CEO and co-founder Tim Quinn. Just to introduce Tim briefly, Tim has over 20 years of experience in building and deploying geospatial technologies for fleet and asset tracking. And he's going to be walking through today a bit of what organizations should be considering when they're looking for a fleet and asset tracking solution that delivers tangible results. And what I mean by that is delivering true ROI to your organization, not just dots on a map. So we're super excited to have all of you all today. Another quick housekeeping item, this session will be recorded and distributed out to the group after this meeting. So if you can't stay the entire time, we'll be getting you copies of this a little bit later in the day. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Before we get started today, what I want to do is just to provide a quick background and introduction to ThingTech. ThingTech was founded in 2014 really to help organizations that are asset intensive, organizations that have valuable things that sit outside their four walls, for example, vehicles, equipment, or even personnel, leverage IoT technology solutions to better manage their operations. With this real-time data, organizations can develop new insights into the best way to reduce operational costs, increase efficiency, and provide better customer service. Our customers who are spread out all across the United States and organizations such as David J. Frank, which is a large landscaping company, and Atlanta Arbor have been able to document hundreds of thousands of dollars in savings and new revenues, resulting in profound impacts on their top and bottom line. So today's webinar is really going to focus on if your organization is currently looking for an IoT or real-time asset solution, what to kind of look out for, and how to get the most value out of that solution. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Tim, who is going to be taking us from here.
Excellent, Dan. Thanks so much. Welcome, and thank you for joining us for this next 45 minutes to an hour webinar. As Dan mentioned, my name is Tim Quinn. I'll be going through some of the discussion topics today, really focusing on challenges and benefits, major factors in choosing technology, ThingTech solution overview, and then we'll have hopefully we'll have some time for questions and answers. Often we find ourselves, and with our customers, there's really 5 things that we kind of focus on in terms of real-time vehicle or asset or equipment tracking, as well as workforce tracking. We call this kind of the VAMP problem, or the visibility, accountability, measurability, performance, and then we put a layer of customer service on it. But really, the challenge is around where's my crew and how are they utilizing the equipment that's out in the world. Are my assets where they're supposed to be? From an accountability perspective, are they being utilized properly? Is there any unauthorized usage? Is there any theft that needs to be managed? Where's my field service technicians in relation to where they should be? If they're on a planned route, or if we need to dispatch a technician, those are very important things. You know, the measurability piece revolves around performance metrics, which we're very focused on performance metrics and measuring how how effective we are, whether it's from a revenue perspective, whether it's from an on-time performance perspective, or how much I'm spending on a particular job site. You know, how much equipment am I utilizing? How many hours is the engines on during a construction project? Who's located where and what's located where? So we're going to talk a lot about data at the end of the day, and my personal opinion is all about the data and how we can leverage the data to make better decisions, and also do things like predictive analytics to start to predict potential failures or predict potential issues, such as predictive maintenance, predictive asset failures, and some capital replacement planning metrics. Performance of the asset is crucial to our customers. They tend to, how we can make those assets and the workforce that operate them more safe and more efficient to do more work and generate more revenue is a big focus of a system like this. And we spend a lot of time really focused on that. At the end of the day, what we're seeing as a big trend is a connected customer. And when I say a connected customer, how can we give your customers insight? If you're a private sector company, how can you give your customers insight? If you're a public sector customer, how can you give your stakeholders, your citizens, or even your third-party vendors insight into how you're performing and the services that you deliver? This is just a visual depiction of that. To the left are the types of assets you may want to monitor and manage through your asset management program. You could have a truck with equipment that you, and a trailer that you haul your very expensive equipment on. You have a heavy-duty vehicle that you own and operate, like a sanitation vehicle or a snow plow. You may have mobile workforce out in the world operating that equipment. We also can deploy sensors, sensors out in the world to capture and collect data related to the environment, to the what's around us, whether it's temperature, whether it's water quality, whether it's the status and state of another piece of equipment, or power generator. So what we like to paint the picture of is it's not just about tracking a vehicle. It could be monitoring and tracking other assets and other pieces of heavy equipment, bringing all that together in one single unified container to help you make decisions more effectively and create actionable data, as Dan mentioned. To give you an idea, when we talk about bridging the gap, here's just some recommendations, some things that we look at that my colleague and good friend Chris Coffey put together. Where you may be now, if you're not getting real-time data or real-time engine diagnostics, telematics, and utilization data, where you are now and where you may want to be. So we won't go through all of them, but many of our customers that are before these types of solutions, they have very poor or no insight in how their assets are performing and being utilized right now. So everybody imagine if you have 50 assets out in the world, 50 vehicles out in the world, do you know exactly where they are, how they're behaving, what's the health of the asset, how it's being utilized, and how you can bring that data back to maintain it more effectively. Those are things that we focus on. Zero limited visibility into asset location and behavior, irregular maintenance, high fuel costs, idling issues, not knowing exactly the status of a work order, poor customer connections, a lot of paper processes, calling or texting drivers for messaging and communication, poor route planning, poor dispatching, very siloed systems. Our customers, most of our customers, if not all of our customers, really want to have real-time visibility into asset location and driver or operator behavior. They want predictive maintenance. They want to lower their operating costs. They want to minimize idling. They want to improve environmental issues around emissions management. They want real-time work order updates to their mobile phones. They want route planning. They want navigation. They want to create a connected customer. These are the things that our customers want. And when you procure the proper solution, you should have 360-degree view of your operations in real time. Now, if we fast forward to the solution, if this is the VAMP problem, the visibility, accountability, measurability, performance problem, how can we bridge the gap by providing a proper solution? Now we're starting to look at by simply putting a device, a sensor on the asset, whether it's an OBD2 plugin, whether it's a smartphone with your mobile field service technicians, whether it's a heavy-duty vehicle, whether it's a smarter city sensor or a sensor out in the world, or whether it's just another piece of equipment like a power generator. By simply equipping those assets with the ability to connect to it, diagnose it, get location data, accelerometer data, and all the stuff that you can get, we can easily then convert that into actionable data, predictive data, and also what we call prescriptive data. Prescriptive data being something's failing, you need to go fix it. That could be shut the machine off. It could be identify a technician or a field service worker out in the world, dispatch them to that site, have them check on it, issue them a work order, complete the project. To the right is the solution we're going to discuss and kind of use as a case study, of course, which is the real-time asset monitoring management solution, combined with what we call ThingTech Mobile, which is our smartphone mobile solution, both on iOS as well as a Droid device. And then, of course, getting the data. This is simply a capital replacement planning schedule for an organization that owns millions and millions of dollars of equipment. They need to replace that equipment. This helps them do that. Now, to get started, what we're really trying to do is enable your business. So, you know your business. You've been running a very solid business. We're providing a tool or a set of tools, whether it's enterprise asset management, which is one piece of our solution, whether it's real-time IoT or GPS telematics and sensor integration, or whether it's field service automation. What we are focused on providing, and what these types of solutions, whether it's our solution or the best of breed solutions, is how do we automate your processes? How do we accelerate access to data? How do we get you data faster and make better decisions? But once we collect that data, how do we enhance the data? There's a concept of contextual data. So one piece of data without the other piece of data may not be worth anything until you combine them together and give you context. The best example is, let's take an example or use case of these series of vehicles that operate in this general region tend to have more accidents than this region. Well, it could be a lot of different reasons. It could be driver performance, it could be safety, it could be other issues. But guess what? Combine that data with weather data, you may correlate that you're having accidents in the Northeast in January much more than you have accidents in Florida. I.e., just because it's harsher weather, more snow, more rain, whatever that may be. So those are things that we're trying to enhance when we bring this data back. And at the end of the process is how do we engage? How do we engage your customers, your stakeholders, your partners to facilitate more information for them? So whether it's where's my technician, where's my landscaping crew, where are they in relation where they should be? So if I'm supposed to be at, you have a crew that's supposed to be at 10 houses to perform maintenance or perform landscaping services or perform other types of services, how can we take that data and share it with the proper, with your customers to give them better insight and also have them buy more, have them be more satisfied, and how to improve on-time performance and generally just create a more loyal customer, okay? So this is really the convergence of what we call the IoT, or what's called the IoT, the Internet of Things, with real-time location, predictive analytics, and field service. And these are many of the things that you're going to want to talk about, or you want to kind of research and understand. Real-time location, utilization, asset status, what's the state status and location of my assets. You know, alarm rule engines are very important. What an alarm rule engine is really a rules-based engine that allows you to define your rules, not our rules, through a very easy to understand solution, but define the rules that you care about, create notifications, create alerts, and create workflows to help you solve those issues that are being detected in real time. Know where things are from a geofence perspective or a geospatial perspective. You know, how many times did I enter or exit this park? How long did I stay there? Did I turn the engine on? Did I turn the engine off? Did I speed within that school zone? How many hours did I have my equipment turned on so I can bill for that effectively, or at least prove to my customer that that I spent this many hours on site with my backhoes on, my power generators on, whatever that may be. We play that data back historically, whether it's the location or the message or the diagnostics, and feed that data into your maintenance management system to automate your maintenance processes. So if you're capturing real-time utilization data, when I say utilization data, from a vehicle, it could be an odometer, from a heavy piece of construction equipment, it could be an engine hour. Those two pieces of data are absolutely critical in your preventive maintenance programs and your condition assessment programs. Odometers and engine hours drive those maintenance programs. If we capture that data, we automate that process to ensure that your maintenance schedules stay on track. And therefore, we can extend the life cycle of that asset and reduce your costs, reduce your corrective maintenance issues, and have a safer environment for your operators. Now, as Dan mentioned, some of the major factors when you're looking at these types of systems, and really best of breed systems, we've been fortunate to be able to start in the era of the Internet of Things and open published APIs, where systems are expected to talk to each other, applications are expected to talk to each other, whether it's talking to a weather system, whether it's talking to your ERP system, whether it's talking to sensors and devices and things out in the world. But the very important factors that we coach our customers on is ease of use and the flexibility of the system. It's got to be very easy to use, very simple, utilizing something we call progressive disclosure, being, only give you the data that you're looking for. So, and give you the ability to drill down to extremely detailed level data if you want to. Okay. Integrating that into your CRM or your customer relationship systems or your ERP systems is very important as well, to make sure the back office is connected properly and you can create a more connected customer. Advanced mapping, advanced geospatial tools is very important. Having multiple device and sensor options. Again, all of our customers own and operate multiple different types of assets, ranging from Caterpillars to John Deere's to Fords to GM to Case, you name it, and mobile devices. They have a very diverse need for the types of devices and sensors they need to capture 100% of the data that they need to drive their business. We consider ourselves device agnostic as well as communication agnostic, which means we can communicate the data back in real time over multiple methods, cellular, Wi-Fi, and direct internet connectivity. The solution should be configurable and very flexible to be modeled around your business. We've gotten really good feedback that we don't force our customers to build their business around our processes, the way our software technology is designed. It's our technology designed around your business processes, your rules, and your needs, which is a very, very important function. Mobile ready. In this day and age, everything's got to be available on your phone or your tablet in real time. Our vision is that you can control your operations from your smartphone. You can connect to your system, find out where things are, get alerts, get subscriptions about issues, maybe get a work order, navigate to the location you need to be, connect to your machines, connect to your assets remotely to do things to do stuff with it, turn it off, i.e. And then rules-based. It has to be rules-based, and more importantly, it's got to be your rules. Historical event, messaging playback, maintenance, and materials management. And we're just talking about real-time now, or real-time data and telematics in this webinar, but we have solutions that both allow you to manage the entire lifecycle of your assets through an enterprise asset management system of what you own, what's your inventory, what's your parts, what's your maintenance program in terms of defining your maintenance program, your inspection programs, and your capital replacement planning. So this data feeds very seamlessly into that, as well as another component or application that plugs into this type of solution for field service automation, route planning, dispatching, and field service automation. Reporting and analytics is extremely big. It's all about the data and the type of data that you need to run your business and give you insight to make better decisions, increase customer service, improve revenues, and all the things that go with that. And more importantly, how do you improve your customer support, your customer service levels? It's got to scale. It's got to be able to grow with you. As you grow, the solution should be able to grow with you, plugging other things in, plugging other assets in, other devices, and other sensors. Open API support is very important. The new concept that the biggest trend right now in our world, and really just the software tech world in general, is something called machine learning. If we capture enough data about your operations and your assets and how they're behaving, we can start to learn from that data and start developing trends, patterns, and predictive analytics to assist and actually assist in terms of potentially preventing those things from happening in the future, resulting in significant cost savings and potential improved revenues. If we can make your assets more effective and efficient and optimized, how can we help you do more with the same amount of cost that you have deployed out in the field? Diagnostics and asset health monitoring is a big component of that in terms of feeding into these algorithms and these heuristics. We look at the ThingTech platform as an example. Very easy to use, very scalable, so cloud-based application. It allows our customers to define the mapping layers and the thing layers that they want to see. So it's not a pre-canned or a canned solution. Our customers define any unlimited amount of data layers or mapping layers they want to add. So as this example is, just show me the assets that are currently located in this geofence. Give me the status. This is the data I want to see. Here's the time series. Let's say time series, it could be show me everything that's happening now within this geofence. Or it could be a historical layer saying, show me what happened yesterday at all my construction sites and replay all that back so I can see everything right now in real, or from an analysis perspective. Obviously, mobile is important. So what I can do here, I should be able to reflect on my mobile phone. So if you're not in front of your computer, you have access to your assets, your workforce, and how effective or efficient it is. That's the ThingX mobile component. This is all tied together through what we call ThingX Connect, with an API, which is a server that connects all these things together. Users don't see it, but that's the secret sauce that allows us to collect millions and millions of records per minute, if necessary, process it, and do something with it. use cases. As an example, another example. So what we're seeing here is real-time view of fleet equipment and diagnostics. This is the stuff that I'm interested in. It's giving me, this is a heat map telling me of things that are happening diagnostically that I might be need to be aware of. To the right is just simple statistics or graphs. And the thing I should explain from a user perspective is we have a concept of data layers and thing layers that you can map and add. You know, this is real-time equipment. This is just my heavy construction equipment I want to see. This is real-time vehicle information. This could be messages I got last hour or events that I need to be aware of last hour. This gives me the ability to really be very flexible in how we view data, how we analyze data. This is our graph view. There's also a corresponding list view of what that data, what those data elements are. What's the make, what's the model, what's the temperature of the asset if that's something you're capturing. To the right, this is simply temperature-related data. It's telling me this equipment is operating properly over a time series. Now, plug that data into predictive maintenance and cost dashboards. We have now, predictive maintenance dashboards that tell us over the last year is what we've spent, but more importantly, we project that out based on the data we've collected. But what this dashboard is showing us is if we project out 12 months, this is how much we predict you'll spend on maintenance costs based on the utilization, the average utilization on a daily basis that we've collected over the past X number of months. Very flexible and very powerful from a data perspective. And again, what we're trying to create is really a data-driven process for a decision support tool. And again, as an example, we can see this is the details of the asset record. I have the asset named, I have a series of linked records, registration, insurance, condition of the asset, many things that just give me a basic understanding of what I own and how it's performing. And by the way, that's actually a pretty big topic. Is we go into many organizations that are relatively large, some very, very large, that have very limited access to or information of what they own. They can't tell us what materials they own, what equipment they own, what's the make, what's the model, what's the purchase year, what's the useful life. So simply collecting that data for an asset into an asset management system is the beginning of the journey in terms of connecting it to real time. So this is giving us information. We can send messages to that asset or to that mobile worker. We can share that asset data. We can track it, of course, replay it. It's very simple. You can see a lot of assets, or you can drill down to a single asset. In this case, this is a very high-level view of the assets that are in my service area that I'm interested in. These are all my assets that are actually moving south. And these are clustered because if I put 3,000 assets on this map, it doesn't look really good. But as I drill down, we start to see the details of those assets at a different level. Okay? And these assets that are in my map view will be displayed in my list view or graph view automatically. Okay? So you can see we have vehicles here, trucks, cars, vans. We have a Salesforce connection here that if we wanted to go get account data, customer data, we can do that, any events, any messages. So if you had heavy equipment, if you had sensors, if you had vehicles, all those would be displayed in our what's called our navigation bar. Easily search for things. I can search for things that are on the map view only, everywhere, anywhere, and quickly pull up records, quickly pull up assets, understand what's going on with them. And again, everything's mobile ready. So if I can access the data on my console through a web browser, I can access it on my mobile phone or tablet very effectively. And by the way, everything's based on a hierarchy and user roles and permissions. So if you're a larger enterprise where you have multiple departments within your organization, maybe only particular people should see these types of assets in this department. They can't see the assets in the next department. Or if I'm a user that should only be able to see certain pieces of data, we can control that very effectively and very easily. So we're only providing the data that your users and your organization should see based on their user roles or permission. that's set up in the administration function. Okay. Give me an idea, again, just kind of what the typical user interface would look like. You know, we're looking at real-time heavy construction equipment, any events that are in the south, that are moving south of last hour, any messages received from those assets, and any real-time stuff. This is a geofence, of course. These are the assets I'm interested in. And here's simply the list view of those assets as to access very quickly. Geofencing is very important. So simply imagine a geofence as an imaginary line around something out in the world. It could be a square, it could be a polygon. It could simply be a radius around all your customers. What this allows us to do is search for things that are happening right now, or give us information about where your stuff is now as it relates to the geofence. How many assets are located in this geofence? Who's turned on? Who's turned off? Who's speeding? Who's hard braking? Do I have a power takeoff or a PTO engaged during this geofence? How many entries and how many exits? So clearly, in this case, 7 entered and 0 exited. That means 7 assets came into the geofence, none of them left yet. So imagine if you could take all that utilization data and all that diagnostic data and all that safety data and roll that up by geofence, by construction site, by customer, to start understanding clearly where you're spending your time, how much it's costing you to spend your time at those locations, and also get workflow alerts and rules on that use case. If you have assets that should not go outside the state of Georgia, that a geofence can be drawn around the state of Georgia. Anytime an asset leaves Georgia or exits Georgia, you could get a notification saying, hey, this asset just left. And it's also based on time. So you can define it, say Monday through Friday, they can go outside of Georgia, but on Saturday and Sunday, they cannot go outside the state of Georgia because we don't work on Saturday and Sunday. So imagine if you have assets that are taken home, or vehicles, equipment, and you want to monitor what's going on at home when you're not working, we can easily set those up from a process and workflow perspective. I want to just talk about rules engine because this is very, very important. This is, again, a rules-based engine, very advanced. It's very flexible and configurable. You define your, what we call automation rules. These automation rules can be unlimited. We ship the product with a series of rules that are very, very common, but our customers can create new ones that are very specific to them. So you define the rule, and then you get notified when that rule is broken. We also store, anytime rules are broken, we store that with the asset, so we can report on that. So how many times does this asset hard break? How many times this, how many diagnostic trouble codes did I get off this asset last month? So we can see here is the rule, and this is the actual notification. So this asset, the DTC code is this PID, or PID 118. Description is engine coolant temperature circuit high. This is the event time. You can assign these, you can create the rule here, and then you can assign it to an asset group, a user, role, department, or an individual asset. Mobile ready is very important. I say mobile ready, how do we make sure that we, anywhere in the world, any time of day, as long as you have a connection to the internet or to your cell plan or Wi-Fi connection, we can get 360-degree visibility into our operations. Okay, state, status, utilization, how things are behaving, how things are performing, and get actionable data. Give me data that I can do something about, or I need to do something about. You can communicate, you can chat, and send work orders, and message with your employees, and or potentially down the line give similar access to potentially your customers, or simply maybe text messaging your customers about the status of your products, your services, or your equipment being delivered to a customer. Route planning, navigation, and dispatching is a very important part of the prescriptive or the prognostics piece of it in terms of creating action, and then identifying the proper person or to actually go resolve the issue that's happening out in the field. Ultimately, create a more connected customer, improve customer service, and customer loyalty. As I mentioned earlier, connecting to a CRM or customer relationship management system or ERP, such as SAP, Oracle, you name it, is very important for these types of systems. And whether it's these types of, whether it's those systems or other enterprise systems you may use, such as AssetWorks or a maintenance program, integrating that data back and forth is quite important. Okay, so data we capture can be given to these other systems so they can use those systems. It's a very open, play good in the sandbox kind of environment. So there's nothing proprietary about the data we're capturing. We want to share it with your other systems. We're on the CRM side, we are a Salesforce business partner. So if you have a Salesforce instance, we plug our solution into that to enable real-time connectivity to the Salesforce platform. Field service as well as sales service, or Sales Cloud and what's called the Service Cloud. What this allows us to do is manage all your assets, parts inventory, maintenance inspections, capital replacement, and then again, more connected customers and third-party vendors, okay? What we're looking at is simply a list of all the data, all the assets I own here. What's the odometer reading? What's the replacement? What's the registration expiration? What type of equipment is it? Is it hours versus miles in terms of the meter? What's the fuel system ID? By the way, we have APIs that connect to fuel systems, so we can capture how much you're spending from that fuel system, or a fuel card. If you have fuel cards, what's the asset group name? You can see different groups. If I drill down to that asset, we can now see, hey, this is the asset. This is where he's going or she's going. This is the trip. We can see the details of that and a lot of descriptive data about the detail. That's the progressive disclosure component. Here's all your data. What do you want to see? Search for it, drill down, do something about it. Analytics and asset analytics, reporting, dashboards is a very important piece of these solutions when you're looking at implementing these solutions or even moving from an existing system. If you can't get to your data effectively and easily, when I say you, not the vendor writing a customer report, if you can't build the data and the reports and the dashboards that you need, that's a very limiting function. So we ship with over 75 standard reports, over 10 standard dashboards. There's 2 dashboards below as an example, called a fleet and asset utilization KPI, a driver and safety scorecard, cost maintenance dashboards, many others. But more importantly, we do provide an easy to use ad hoc report tool and dashboard builder that any user can use with very, very minimal training. So we encourage mining the data, building the data sets that you need to make your business more effective. I'm going to turn it over to Dan to wrap up, and then Dan, I think we'll do maybe some questions and answers if there are any, which I'm not sure if there are.
Good. Thank you so much, Tim, for that overview. We do have a couple questions from the audience that I do want to address here. So first and foremost, this question comes from one of our attendees here. Could you provide some examples of how current ThingTech customers are using your platform to achieve tangible ROI?
Return on investment, where these types of systems can really save money literally on day one. It's around meat and potato stuff like reduce fuel costs, reduce amounts of miles or utilization of the asset or unneeded utilization of the asset. So just operational cost alone can be reduced by 10 to 15% by managing the real-time delivery of the services and the products your field technicians are out in the world working on. That's very tangible. Another very tangible kind of metric we look at is labor. how can we make your field service teams more effective, more efficient, to use your time more wisely so we can reduce labor costs. Increasing revenue there's one thing, reducing costs. There's another thing to actually increase the opportunity to generate more revenue. Whether how can we assign more stops or more orders or more complete more work orders by doing better planning, better dispatching in real time to make better decisions. The extension of the life cycle of the assets is another very big ROI factor, which is if we can implement systems and processes to extend the life cycle of your assets so you're not buying as many assets on an annual basis, we can reduce the cost of your capital replacement program, which is a very, very important component. Many, and moving from a manual paper-based system to a automated electronic system such as a mobile phone or a tablet to collect data, optimize work orders, and do things that historically took more time to do is both a cost a driver in terms of saving. It's also an opportunity to increase revenues and do more with your existing assets.
Great, thanks so much, Tim. The next question that we have from the field is, what is the most important factor that any organization should consider before researching an IoT solution?
That's a great question. We always recommend to engage your internal stakeholders, internal users, to really identify what are your business requirements, what are your business drivers, where are they, where can you apply these technologies or this type of technologies most effectively to solve your highest priority challenges and problems, and then phase in the technologies that you need based on the priority, but put a plan together to be able to roll these types of technologies out to solve the problems that are the most painful, but be able to scale up and add additional technologies as your business changes. But getting the stakeholders involved early and getting them engaged is a very important part of the process. There's change management that goes around these types of systems. Anytime you move through a digital transformation, or what we like to call operational digital transformation, change is hard. So getting buy-in early is a big piece of that problem.
Great, thank you, Tim. Last question here is, how can I get started exploring the applicability of an IoT solution in our organization?
Okay, good question. Well, I'd say go to point 2, or question 2, and kind of understand what that is. And once you feel you have your requirements, kind of where your challenges are and where this could be applicable, I think there's opportunities to do research with vendors, get demonstrations of those, and when I say demonstrations, and ask real hard questions and have the vendor demonstrate your business requirements and how they solve those requirements. So, and I'm going to say this kind of with the sales hat on, a great follow-up from these types of webinars are always kind of more detailed one-on-one sales demonstrations or presentations that we, in our case, we could provide and really go much deeper into your business challenges and how we could potentially solve them, and if we have a good fit for your business. So hopefully the vendors or the partners you're looking at are open and honest in terms of what they can and cannot do, and then and choosing the right partner for long-term growth is important. I probably could not emphasize enough that the world, the technology world, the connected device, the Internet of Things, everything being mobile, so many trends are going on right now that are going to continue to accelerate. Being ready for the next evolution or revolution in this industry is going to be critical. And everybody on this call probably knows that the generation, either my generation, I want data now. I want real-time data now if you can give it to me. But you know what? the generation behind us, they demand it. And if they can't get that data quick, it's going to be hard to service that customer.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Tim, and we certainly appreciate your time and expertise here. So just to wrap up here quickly, again, today we discussed what to look for when researching an asset management solution. Ultimately, a solution like this can help benefit an organization to improve visibility, accountability, measurability, and performance. The ROI that can be generated from implementing an IoT solution includes being able to improve utilization, reduce costs, streamline operations, and provide better customer service. And some things to look for when you're researching and looking for a solution to some of your internal challenges and to align with your goals are real-time data, an end-to-end IoT solution, open APIs, a rules-based engine, advanced data mapping, flexible reporting and analytics, scalability, regulatory compliance, and obviously world-class customer support and service. So just to wrap up and conclude, we thank you again for taking the time to join us today. If there are additional questions or if we can help your organization to start to explore solutions in the IoT space, we'd be more than happy to have a conversation with your team. We'll be sending out a copy of this presentation as well as information on how to schedule time with members of the ThingTech team. And again, we appreciate your interest and look forward to working with all of you at some point in the future soon. And look out, great point, Tim. Look out for more webinars coming this year. We're going to be doing these on a monthly basis, so certainly going to be covering a wide variety of topics, but would love to have you participate in upcoming webinars. We'll be sending out invites to those as we get closer to the date. Thank you.